will become a copy, an imitator. And you will become a victim of other people's opinion.
Yes, yes. I remember that, yes.
This is the problem with black people.
Yes.
Number one, we don't know
Not knowing who we are.
Yes. We don't know who we are, and that's the reason that we are imitators. Especially, I'm talking on a religious point of view.
Let me ask you before you continue. Sorry to cut you there.
Yes.
Who are we as black people?
We are the image of God, and I will arrive and I will explain.
Okay.
Because I wanted to say that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a normal generic answer everybody gives. Like, oh, who are we? We're the image and likeness of God.
But
like,
that's
no,
not the answer I want.
We know.
Because for us to rise as a black nation,
we
who
need to
are we?
understand, yeah.
Because we don't have an identity. That's where I'm going.
I will come there.
Okay.
And what I was saying that look at the churches. We see people in Africa. Instead of being African, they preach like American. They've completely forgotten that they are Africans. I will give you an example. If you imitate T.G. Jake, for example, why must I invite you? Because there is an original T.G. Jake. And you are not the original, you are an imitator. If I want something that is original, it's better that I invite the original to come. Now, all these things, the reason that we are today imitators, it's because we don't know who we are. If I know who I am not going to imitate anybody else. I will stay myself. Now, let me be a little bit political.
Okay.
Very important.
Yes. This is a point of debate. But this is something that is in my heart. The democracy, I like democracy. I don't have any problem with democracy. But the democracy as it is now, it's not suitable for African.
True.
Because we have copy and paste. It took some of the countries 200 years to have the democracy that they have.
Yeah.
There is no country in Africa that is 100 years. We have 60 years since we were independent.
Yeah.
Now, you want to force us something that it took you 200 years. What I suggest, we have scholars, we have people, a PhD in politics, history, and all this. Why not these people come and sit together and say, this is democracy, but how can we take this democracy and change it so that it become a democracy according to what Africa is all about. I will give you an example. African people, if you don't have salt, and we are living in the same compound, I will come and knock at your door.
Ask for salt.
Say that I don't have salt.
Yeah.
You will never say to me that, why are you coming here? We eat together. When we have a problem, we sit together to solve our problem. We are not individualistic. Now,
by nature, no, we're not.
Yeah, by nature. This is how God created us. This is what is intrinsic in us. That's what we are. But now, you come with something that you are individualistic. For example, the democracy that we have is completely individualistic. If your party win, you do everything. You don't care about the others. But that is not in us. That's the reason that in many parts of Africa, this thing is not working.
But don't you think, Doctor, this individualism was created by an existing constitution that unfortunately we have not come as African leaders to sit together to discuss, to wipe it out and rewrite a constitution that is favorable?
That can be correct, but where have we taken those constitutions? Because the people who wrote the constitution, these are lawyers and all these, they are highly educated people. These are people that were supposed to sit down and say that this is who we are. And in our constitution, it's better that we put the things in the prospect so that what we are will not conflict what we are doing. But today, what we are is in conflict with a certain way that we are doing things. Let's see, for example, if all these highly educated people that I respect sit down and say, let's see, how can we have a democracy but in an African context? Say that, okay, we go to election, free and fair election, but we come up, for example, that the one who will be the first in the election, bring the president. The one who comes second, come with the vice president. The one who comes third, come with this. And we all work together. I think that we are not going to have a problem in Africa. Even the problem of corruption that we are crying for here, it will diminish. Because if you are from another party and your vice is from another party, it's difficult for you to be involved in corruption, because you know that this one, that is your vice, will not tolerate what you are doing there. And in essence, this person become as your check and balances. And we will see that things will go. And there will be no bloodshed. There will be no toying. Nothing will happen, because everybody knows that in the election, no matter what will be the outcome, we all are going to find ourselves to have a say in the leadership of our country.
But now, you see, the challenge that I have at the moment is because there are individuals that are sitting in positions of power. Despite the fact that the power may be in the people, there is still voting, there's still vote rigging in some of these electoral processes that enables these individuals to occupy those seats of power. How do we as the masses, because right now there's a revolution amongst the youth because they are fed up, because unemployment is rife, poverty is rife, abuse is rife on all spectrums. How do we now as the general population take control from these individuals and remove them from that system? Because now, from what we are seeing, there has to be a rewrite, a complete total removal of certain individuals, certain ideologies, certain laws and things that are governing the laws of, the issues of the land. How do we remove those people for us to start reformation and reparation? That is the challenge that we are experiencing, because, we sing so many times about, how we want certain individuals removed, but they are not seemingly removed or removable. What do we do there, Doctor?
It's a good question, but a difficult question at the same time.
Understandably.
But I think that it will be difficult to remove these people. What the young people have to do is to start a conversation between themselves. And I know that in the old day, to have to see somebody with a doctorate was supposed to be above 60 years.
Yes.
And have
a white head,
a bald, and also wearing these round glasses and
microscopic lenses,
and looking at people. Now, but for now, we have people 25 years old. They have the PhD.
Achieving,
Now, what these youth, the young people, the millennial, the generational Z, must come together now and say they must come with a proposal. For example, have a forum. Talk about democracy and say what is, for example, wrong, or what are the challenges that we are having with the system that we have now. And they can come with a proposition that for Africa, this democracy that we have copy and paste is not working. This is the proposition that we have. And Africa is a young continent, and most of the people are young. And this thing must not be done on a country level. It must be something that are done in a continental level.
But it has to be a wave, you see.
Yeah, it must be a wave.
It has to be a wave.
But somebody must stand up and start the wave.
That'll take time. And I think you've noticed with the news, when somebody starts some kind of a revolutionary movement, they either disappear, they vanish, they are, they are removed one way or the other. Now, talking about your book, The Black Nation, what was your purpose for you to write this book? What were you hoping to achieve?
I wanted us as Black Nation to start a conversation between us. Otherwise, generation will come and go, and the things will remain the same. And for us to have a change, there must be a conversation. There must be somebody who stand up and we start to talk among ourselves. And that's the reason that when you will see my introduction, I said that this book will not give you the answer to the problem. But this book is here only to raise our conscience so that we come back, we start to talk about certain things and see how we can go forward. We have all the generations now that are living in this same period. We have the traditionalists, the baby boomers, generation X, we have the millennial, we have the generational Z. We all are here. Now, my problem most is about because a true leader is not a leader that sees himself. He sees the people that come. I like what one of the pastors in Ghana say. He gave an example about a generational leader. He said that when you go to the toilet, don't mess up in the toilet. Think about that after you, there will be somebody else that will be coming. So that when the person comes, he does not start first by cleaning your mess. Before that, he does what you want to do there. This is the same thing that we have to do. That if we leave the things the way that it is, when, for example, the millennial come, they will not do anything because they will start first cleaning the mess. And the time of cleaning the mess, they will find themselves old. And another generation.
But the honest truth is that's how long, Doc, it's going to take to clean such messes. When people come in, they have to see what was happening and then remove that mess and then start to implement. And we're not talking about a decade. This could probably take another entire generation of people to wipe out all the wrongs that were done by our elders. What makes it difficult for me is when I sit across you and I'm the youth and you are the older generation. Your purpose is for you to guide me, to say, these are the things that we have done, these were the mistakes. My purpose also as a young person is to say, but you made a fault here. Because what I've come to understand is, with the new black generation, for lack of better words, we do not see color. What we identify now is unfairness. And we call it out. That you did this and you should be accountable to this, don't do this. Now, with the older generation, they should guide us in the steps to say, okay, this is what we did, it went wrong, so we advise try doing this. We have our views as youth, the older generation has their views. There has to be a common ground where we meet to move forward. The problem is, when the older generation meet the younger generation, they want to continue with that ideology, and they want to impress it or impose it on the minds of the youth. By the time we get into where they were sitting, we're already indoctrinated into the system. We are indoctrinated into the system because we're brainwashed. You know why? Because they isolate one vocal potential or presidential candidate. They isolate one and they adopt that person into the system.